What if it's okay that you didn't hit all the goals that you set for yourself this year? I know you might be beating yourself up, but this episode, I want you to learn some lessons about even the things that you didn't get done. Let's talk about it in this episode.
Welcome to the Monetize Your Ministry Podcast.
And you get a chance to interact with them. To me, that's full-time ministry.
Really die happy because tackle diabetes is like a seed. It brings in itself and then it opens.
I want to provide content and things that are going to help change lives, and I simultaneously want to receive a blessing from that.
Now here's your host, Kymone.
All right, I'm recording this episode toward the end of 2024, right around the holidays. So for those of you watching this, a Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to everyone. I'm so glad that you have had, and I've had an opportunity, and we've had an opportunity to connect through the use of this platform, through this podcast. Thank you for watching, and thank you for listening. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for subscribing. Thank you for leaving comments and ratings. Thank you. And I'm just so excited to be able to share with you this episode today. And the topic is, I didn't hit all my goals this year, but now there are a few things I need to share with you. In fact, I have some major news for you that I've been working on that I want to not just share it, but show it in this episode today. So you want to hang on for that. Also, I'm doing another webinar. You want to check out the website for that. I'll give you the link for that. It is mymworkshop.eventbrite.com. That will be coming up early on in 2025. Can't believe we're saying that year already. So if you're interested and you want to get some of the value that others have gotten from it, go to mymworkshop.eventbrite.com. All right. I didn't hit all my goals this year, and as we get close to the end of the year, one of the things that we see happen, and maybe it happens on your feed, maybe it happens in your inbox, maybe it happens in the conversations you have, is that we start to reflect on what happened over the year before. We start to look at the progress we've made. We start to look at the journals that we started at the beginning of the year, the sticky notes that we placed somewhere, something that we posted or shared somewhere or talked to someone about or wrote down somewhere. And we start to evaluate how the year went based on what we said we were going to do and what we actually got done. And if you're anything like me, or the rest of the human beings that I know, you have not hit all the goals that you set for yourself. Now, I don't know your percentage. I know my percentage, and I actually had the opportunity to do some of the things that we talked about, which is evaluation. And here are some of the things that I noticed about my year, right? And I'll just be transparent and share with you. And maybe in my sharing, it will actually let you know, maybe you can relate to it. So first of all, I set one of the goals for this year was to podcast and to get over 100 episodes in the podcast, because I ended last year with 38 and I wanted to get over 100, which would mean I would have to do an episode every week, right? Because there are 52 weeks in a year. Plus, I'd have to do some weeks with more than one episode. So my goal was basically to release an episode every week. Now, here's some truth. I did not. In fact, those of you who watch and listen to this, if you are consistent, you know there were some weeks, maybe even a month, that I did not release anything. And so that was something I had to look at. And so there was that goal that I did not accomplish. Another goal that I set for myself in terms of my business, right? I'm going to share in terms of business that I set for myself was to release a devotional at the end of the first quarter and to do an in-person event. Now, that devotional didn't get done, and there was no in-person event that I was able to create and invite my community to come share and to enjoy and to learn from. And I'm actually looking at my whiteboard in front of me. You can't see it. The podcast is on there. In-person conference is on there. The devotional in the first quarter is there. And so those things did not get done. And I'll also tell you, there's some things that were on my list that were supposed to get done a whole lot sooner. Website, end of February. Course, March the 31st. So many things, right, that was supposed to get done earlier. And as I sit with it now, and as I've sat with it now, one of the things that I had to tell myself, and I want to tell you as we close off the end of the year, is this: no one hits all their goals. No one hits all their goals. I want that to sink in, because sometimes what goes through my mind, and maybe it goes through yours, is something is wrong with me. Everyone else seems to be getting everything done. People are accomplishing a lot, and here I am stuck. I'm not where I wanted to be. I don't think I'm where I'm supposed to be. And let me tell you this: even the people who you think are getting a lot done and a lot accomplished have things on their list that they did not get done. Let that sink in. The people who you admire, who are making the progress that you are wanting, their list has some incomplete things on it as well. And so I just want us to understand that there is nothing wrong with setting goals. Now, there's some ways we can optimize it, and we talked about that last week. On the last episode, we talked about there's nothing wrong with setting goals, but understand that even when you set goals and you go after them, that you won't accomplish all of them. And that is just something that I think we need to settle for ourselves, even as we close off this year. I don't want you to feel like I have to close off this year and try to get a whole lot of things done. No, it's just closing off this year saying, I didn't get everything done, and that's okay. But then there's a second part of that I want you to understand. Even with some of the things that I was able to get done, the website, it got completed in the early part of December. And it was because I had to go to a conference. And because I was going to the conference, I had to get something done. And it actually turned out to be really good, really exciting. If you want to check it out, it's monetizeyourministry.com. If you go to monetizeyourministry.com, it has every way that you can connect with me. I had the podcast on there, and the webinar, and the resources. So it's a central location. So I finally got that done. But I got it done not in February, but in December. And there was an adjustment. I did not get the devotional done, but I got another resource done that I'm going to share with you later. And the reason I'm sharing this is to help us understand that even in the process of going after your goals, there are going to be some adjustments that you make. There's some things that you think you can get done faster that take a little bit longer than you thought they would. There's some things that you thought you should do, and as you start working through the process, that you ended up doing something else that's comparable, maybe a little bit different, but you got that done, and it was not on your original list. Which leads me to the second point. The second point that I want to share with you: no one hits all their goals, so don't hold yourself to a standard that no one can accomplish. And even in the accomplishing of your goals, there will be adjustments in terms of timeline, in terms of what you do. So give yourself some understanding and some grace. But secondly, understand you need to celebrate unexpected wins. Celebrate unexpected wins. Now, I should go back and say celebrate wins. All right, so I'm going to change this a little bit and to celebrate wins. There's some things that I did get done. And I know for you, there's some things that you did accomplish. Maybe you didn't accomplish everything on the 10 things you had on your list. What if you got one done? How about we look at that and we celebrate that? This year, one of my goals was to create my course so that people could join and access the material and take all the things that was in my head that I was coaching people with, put it into a program and create this program. And I was struggling to get that done. And I might have shared this on this podcast before. I reached out to a friend of mine, Seth Yalorda. I asked him for accountability. He asked me, what did that look like? And I said, hey, Seth, just check in with me every now and then. Text me every now and then. He asked me for a deadline. I gave it to him. And he said, that's not enough. He said, send me some money. And he gave me a number, $1,000. I was like, Seth, I don't have that. But what about 500? Send it to him. And I had to get the materials, the course, the videos, all of that stuff completed by a particular date. And if I got it done, he would send me my money back. If I didn't get it done, he kept the money. And come on now. Come on. You watching this, you're listening to this. You're just like me. If you gave some money, someone some hard-earned money, and you would have to forfeit that money if you didn't accomplish a goal, it helps to get you moving on the days you don't want to move. It helps you to kind of adjust your schedule and adjust your lifestyle so that you can prioritize it. And that's what I did, right? I went to sleep earlier. I woke up. I took off distractions, so I couldn't touch my phone for a certain time. And I got to work early in the morning to work on that project. And this gets me to celebrating unexpected wins. Because in the midst of working on that, life happened. And it's a story that I've shared before. My younger brother had a health crisis. He had a stroke and a brain bleed. And my wife and I our family received this call. He lived in South Carolina at the time. We had to leave Tampa, get down to South Carolina, because we were, outside of his wife and kids, his closest family members from my parents and my siblings. I only have 2 brothers. So I was the closest one. We were the closest ones. My parents live in Trinidad. My other brother lives in Hong Kong. So we got there the next day. And that began a journey of really us as a family. And I'm talking about my wider family, cousins, my parents, my brother, just all of us kind of combining to support him and his family. And a lot of you have supported him in different ways, through prayers, through giving, through just asking about it. But that became more important than anything at the moment, right? I don't care what I had on my list of goals, on the things that I wanted to get done, on the things that I had as a part of my plan. Here was someone that I loved, that needed my attention, that needed me to be there, that needed me to give my all that I could to that process. And that became my focus. And so going back to this conversation with Seth, I had to ask him for an extension. And he, of course, understood. But I had to say, listen, I won't hit the goal, not because I didn't start and I wasn't working diligently, but life happened. And I want to pause and just say life might have happened for you too. And I don't know everything that went on. And maybe a lot of people don't know, but maybe you navigated a health crisis this year. Maybe you navigated a relationship challenge this year. Maybe you navigated losing a job, cut in your in your income with a rise in your expenses. Maybe you had a child go to school. Maybe you went back to school yourself and had to navigate the adjustments of that. Maybe you moved somewhere unexpectedly and unplanned at the beginning of the year, and you navigated. Maybe you navigated not just a physical health challenge, but maybe a mental health challenge, and you had to manage emotional issues and traumas and stuff, and you navigated that this year. And none of those things might have been on your list of to-dos and goals and all this stuff for the year, but you did it. And I want you to pause in this moment as you're watching this and listening to this and just celebrate the unexpected wins for the year, the health challenge that you overcame, the financial challenge that you navigated, the relationship challenge that you had to work your way through, the family things that you had to support a family member, move a family member, bring someone into your home. You had to deal with, emotional baggage and emotional trauma and difficulties in your life. And here is the win. You are still here. I know I'm getting loud. That's the preacher in me. But I just want to just say to someone, as we are ending off a year and we're talking about hitting our goals, maybe you didn't hit all your goals, but you won in things that mattered. You won in things that were even more important than your business goals and the things that you were working on. Maybe you won in areas that no one will ever know as much about but God. But you won in those areas. You beat some addiction or some bad habit or some stronghold in your life. You won in that area. And maybe you didn't think about that as a goal for the year, but you did it. And what I want to say to you is, you might be looking at just the stuff that was on that original list, and there's some things that were not on that list that got done that I need you to celebrate, and you need you to celebrate. And so even if you didn't hit all your goals for the year, I want you to celebrate unexpected wins. Unexpected wins. Unexpected wins. And really, I want to just ask you to sit with this. Spend some time looking over your year If there was a dip in your productivity, a dip in what you were supposed to do, look at what happened during that month, during that week. What was happening for you? And look at, maybe I navigated something that I didn't even think about. And then give yourself some credit for accomplishing the victory of winning in that area. All right, so just understand no one hits all your goals, and celebrate unexpected wins. And one last thing is, I want you to focus on, even if you didn't hit all your goals, what lessons have you learned along the way? Now, you might say to yourself, I am exactly the same place I started this year. But I challenge you that even if your bank account didn't move as much, your business didn't move as much, the needle didn't move on something else as much, maybe your health, that markers that you set for those, maybe you learned some lessons even in what might be considered a loss. Maybe you learned about yourself and your rhythm of work, that, hey, I'm not as much a morning person, but I can work well in the evening. Maybe I need this uninterrupted time, so I need to work away from home. Maybe I need to put my phone in a drawer upstairs while I'm working downstairs. Maybe I learned how to set goals differently because the way I said it before didn't work. Maybe like that great inventor, you didn't find a way that worked, but you figured out another way that won't work so that you don't try that again. I'll tell you one book that I read this year that made a difference to me. It was called The 12-Week Year. That's it, The 12-Week Year. And one of the lessons I learned from that is setting 1-year goals is too long of a time for me. I need 12-week goals. And here's why I need 12-week goals. Because just like you and I, at the end of the year, where we get that energy, like businesses make a lot of their sales at the end of the year. And when their closeout times, people pick it up. You and I, and at least for me, I need that goal, that like a finish line. Instead of it being at the end of 52 weeks, I need it at the end of 12 weeks because it gives me some push to go after it. That's a lesson I learned. I learned it because I went a long time without doing what I needed to do. And when I set a goal within a 12-week frame, I got it done at least a little bit faster than I would have. And so what lessons have you learned this year? And so understand, the learning of a lesson means that you're not where you started. You've made some progress. And one of the things I told you is I said I wanted to do a devotional. I didn't get a devotional done. But I worked on a planner. And let me see if I can get that in the frame right here. All right. The Monetize Your Ministry 60-day action planner to turn your gifts into income. All right. There's a lot of light here, so it's going to be tough to see. But what I realized, didn't do a devotional, but I realized people in my community that I coach and people who are out here trying to take action on their business goals, they got a way that they serve others and they want to turn it into a stream of income. They need some guidance. They need something to help them to walk through next steps. They need some work on mindset. They need a biblical promise to claim for the day. They need to learn how to break down their goals into what I do this week, and based on what I'm scheduling myself to do for the week, what am I doing each day? And then recapping each day, saying, what did I learn? What some challenges, what some wins, so that they aren't just going day to day without reflection. And so I'm excited that I got this research done this year. It's not what I planned to do, but I actually think I like this. Now, I won't say better, but I'm very proud about this. It's not a step down. It's just another way that people can be helped. And so for you, what's that thing that you got done that was not on your original list, but you want to celebrate? And as I close off this episode, I just want to celebrate you, that you watch this episode and maybe you watch other ones, which means you are intentional and you are focused on how you can be better. And I want you to take that into the new year. I want you to take that desire for, hunger for learning, the devotion to learning into the new year, and add to it just a willingness to take action on what you learn. So thank you for watching this episode. Enjoy your holidays, and let's continue to increase our income and our impact.
Thank you for listening to the Monetize Your Ministry Podcast with Kymone Hines. For more information, visit our website at www.monetizeyourministrypodcast.com. That's www.monetizeyourministrypodcast.com. Find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Please share this episode with someone who needs it. Let's increase our income and impact.